Here we have a SAT math question. Okay, let's go the information. The sum of the squares of two positive integers is 100 and the difference of their squares is 28. The sum of the two integers is. Okay, let me assume x and y as two positive integers. Okay, let me finish writing. Two positive integers. Okay, according to the question, the sum of the squares of the two positive integers is 100. That is, if I square x and square y and add them, it must be equal to 100 because the question says the sum of the squares of two positive integers is 100. So I write the first equation, x square positive y square. So this expression represents the sum of the squares of two positive integers. According to the question, it is equal to 100 and I consider this is equation number 1. Okay, now let's go over the second information. The difference of the squares is 28. That is, if I find the difference between the x square and y square, it must be 28. Then I'm getting x square negative y square equals to 28. Okay, I consider this is equation number 2. Okay, now my aim is to solve for x and y because x and y represent two positive integers. So once I get the value of x and y, they are the two positive integers. I have to add them to get the sum of the two positive integers. Okay, so now I have to solve the system of equations over here. So if I add the two equations, I'll be able to cancel out the y square because here y square is positive, y square is negative in the second equation. So we can eliminate y square if I add the two equations. Okay, let me add them. So 1 plus 2. So let me write the first equation, x square positive y square equals to 100, and the second equation, x square negative y square equals to 28. So when I add them, the positive y square, negative y square will cancel out. When I combine x square and x square, that means when I add them, I'm getting 2x square. When I add 128 on the right side, I'm getting 128. Okay, let me write the equation over here. That is 2x square equals to 128. Okay, my aim is to solve for x. So let me divide both sides by 2. When I do so, this 2 will cancel out. I'm getting x square equals to, when I divide 128 by 2, I'm getting 64. Okay, to solve for x, I have to get rid of the square. For that, I have to take a square root on both sides. When I take square root on both sides, the square root and square will cancel out. And whenever I take square root on both sides of an equation, on one of the sides, I have to consider positive or negative sign. So when I do so, like I'm getting x equals to positive or negative. So the square root of 64 is 8. So I'm getting two values for x. One is x equals to 8 and the other one is negative 8. But the question clearly says two positive integers. So we assume x as one of the two positive integers. So the value of x cannot be negative according to the information we have. So we can ignore the negative value of x. So we can consider only the positive value of x. Therefore, x equals to 8. I got one of the two positive integers. To get the value of the other positive integer, I have to plug in x equals to 8 into one of these two equations. So for that, what should I do? So I have to plug in x equals to 8 into the either into the first equation or second equation. Okay, now let me plug in into the first equation. That is 8 square positive y square equals to 100. Then the value of a square is 64 positive y square equals to 100. Now let me subtract 64 from both sides. When I do so, I'm getting positive 64, negative 64 will cancel out. Y square equals to, when I subtract 64 from 100, I'm getting 36. Okay, now let me take the equation over here. Y square equals to 36. Now I'm taking square root on both sides to get rid of the square for y. So when I take square root on both sides, the square root and square will cancel out. I consider positive or negative sign over here. Y equals to positive or negative. Square root of 36 is just 6. So I'm getting two values for y. One is positive 6 and the other one is negative 6. Okay, I already have seen this reason. That is the two numbers are, two positive integers we have. So y is one of the two positive integers, so it cannot have a negative value according to the question. So we can ignore the negative 6. So now I got the value of x and y. Already we know that x and y represent the two positive integers, and we have to find the sum of the two positive integers. So that is, we have to add the value of x and y. So this expression represents the sum of the two integers. The value of x already we got it, that is 8, and the value of y we just got now. That is 6, then x positive y equals to 8 positive 6 is 14. So the sum of the two integers is 14. So the correct answer choice is option C.